This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, Secret Treasure Hunt Land. How are you? I wanted to take a moment and zero in on New York. And I'm challenging you, just like I put a video out for San Francisco, the bookend to this guy, about GGP. And I don't know, maybe that sunk in a bit. I'm getting a decent amount of views on that. It was like a 12-minute video. And I just don't think it's in GGP. Similarly, here, I don't believe the box was buried in Brooklyn or Manhattan or any other borough. I think it's in Staten. So I'm just going to walk you through. This is a subset of the longer solve I did. It was over an hour, and I apologize about that. But as you well know, how do you make a strong case? You can't just do that in 10 minutes, okay? In any case, so I'm going to separate this out for you because I think this is like a crucial piece to New York City. And so if you look at what I'm putting together here and you like it, redirect your efforts, okay? Um, and if you don't like it, then just scrap it. Keep doing what you're doing. Uh, but we need people, the smart people who are serious about this and want to get it solved. We need your eyes and your effort focused on something that can work. I just don't think these other boroughs work. I think it's in Staten. So I'm going to take a moment and just break this out for you. And we're going to focus on Spirit of 76. Now, I've done this as we're talking about and debating things online, but I thought it would make sense just do a short video here on Spirit of 76. So is there any question that this relates to New York? Right? I mean, it has to. Twin Towers in the background. You've got Lady Liberty there. She's calling the Spirit of 76. It's kind of like multiple meanings and layers to this, right? But in any case, if you were, for example, to not believe that this relates to New York, I'm going to give you one more piece. Now, I posted this several months ago where I saw hope, and it looks like X in the painting. Now, this is the enhanced image, and people are going to hate on that, which they did. That's fine. And someone sent me, here's the real one. I still kind of see it in there, but we don't have the real one. At least I don't. In any case, this to me ties Spirit of 76 to the painting directly. If this word hope, if John's really put it in there, and he says he does this, okay, this is not a stretch, I don't think. In any case, this isn't a make or break. It's just in case you doubted that this Spirit of 76 is tied to the New York City puzzle and maybe others as well. But this is like just one more reason to believe this. So, seeing the Twin Towers and the skyline and all that, how can you doubt it? But maybe there are some. Uh, I'm not going to debate that. I think this is very clear. Okay, so I just want to give you a little piece of evidence. So the thing about Spirit of 76, if you believe, like undoubtedly this relates to New York City, you have the spotter's tip. Now, all the spotter's tips and the fair people, in my opinion, don't give you as much certainty, let's say, as this one. And there may be some vague and maybe not useful at all. But in this case, I think it's super beneficial. So if you're up in a borough other than Staten Island, this would directly conflict with that. Okay, just like I think in GGP, there's no in San Francisco, there's no great way to be up there, and just from a big picture perspective, there's no reason to be in Golden Gate Park. And then you can watch the video I did with GGP versus what I call the shoreline solve. Okay, so I think this is the same. Like I don't think it's that hard to figure this out that it is in Staten. Okay, and you ask you, why aren't people in Staten? Well, not being a New Yorker and really not really having a bias on the boroughs, when people are talking about the different boroughs, the last one that was mentioned is Staten. Okay, and it used to be it used to be a garbage dump, and I spent a lot of time on Staten in the fall. I made 3 trips there and conducted some operations. All right, and so I have nothing but love for Staten Island. It's cool. It's kind of a working man's town. They call it the Green Borough, as I've learned, and it's kind of cool. Maybe kind of a throwback in time. But look, I don't go in with that bias, and I think people working on New York, many of them, just don't even want to believe it could be in Staten, so they're not looking there. Anyway, so right here in Spirit of 76, it tells us the spotter's tip is usually found at the maximum distance from the monuments erected to her fame. So I want you to go out on the map and look. And I know there's debate, like, oh, can you see the statue or not? Like, I just don't think, why would he mention it or allude to it if you couldn't see it from the dig spot? Even his daughters said, right? Like, you can see everything. And so this is where it gets a little fuzzy, I think. But I look at it like, on the surface, is this not representation of the statue? Is he not referencing the statue? If this was about, I don't know, something else, some other theme, but it's about immigrants and immigration, right? Kind of, isn't it? And could there be any other symbol in the entire world more associated to that concept of immigrants and different groups of people and liberty and all that, right? It's a statue. It's a statue. So I just don't think Byron would reference this if he wasn't serious about it. I think he's trying to mislead us, like, oh, it could be something else. I just don't. So in any case, he's telling us right here, you have to be the maximum distance from the monument, okay? So if you look on a map, the line of sight is actually to the south. You can get basically to the tip of Staten Island, right near the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, which happens to be the Great Giant, in my opinion. I don't know why people are debating that one. But in any case, Staten Island near Fort Wadsworth is the maximum distance you can be away from the statue and see it. So people, they're trying to be up in Brooklyn or elsewhere. If you're not that max distance to see the statue, you are going directly against Byron's words, okay? So not my words, it's his words, or my interpretation of his words. He's telling you in black and white, you have to be the max distance. Now again, if you piece this together with the verse, he's asked you to gaze north, and I've addressed that in my other short video on the Von Briesen Park. So look, just putting those two together, max distance, you have to look north. So that tells you have to be to the south. All right, so just look on the map. And people say, well, Brooklyn's almost there. Well, it's not the maximum distance, right? So all I'm suggesting in this video, take Byron at his word. So you max distance to the south. That's using two black and white words that he put, and that would lead you to Staten. That's all I'm saying. And so my boy Tommy met him and his family, and we did some work. So I met him through the message boards, and I give this one props to Tommy on this. He's like, yeah, she's on the ferry to Staten. Like, I wouldn't know that, and it's even hard for me to tell because I've never been on one of the ferries. It looks to me almost like she's sitting on ground, but no, she's on a ferry. I didn't know that. So this is where I think you have a local presence, you got local representation. They can help you with this stuff. So you got to partner with people. So I've got a few groups in New York that if you want partners, I can introduce you. They're immeasurably helpful in getting these things solved, I think. I don't know how you can do this without a local team to help. But in any case, Tommy's like, hey, she's on the boat. She's on the ferry to Staten. Okay, so, we're in the ferry terminal in Manhattan. You go and you've got your secret book tucked under your arm there, and you go and you say, well, Byron lived in Brooklyn, so I'm going to take the ferry to Brooklyn, right? So you go and you do that, and I'm standing behind you, and Spirit of 76 is next. She steps up there, and she buys a ticket to Staten Island, okay? And then, it's my turn, and they ask me, where do you want to go, sir? So I see you with your book, and you say, well, I'm going to go where Byron used to live, or I'm going to follow the Spirit of 76. I tell you where I'm buying a ticket for. It's to Staten, okay? So I think we could probably verify that the team working on this took this picture. Well, if they did, you have to ask yourself, was it intentional? Or was it just like, hey, go out on a ferry and take a picture and make sure the Twin Towers are there? I just don't think that they did much in here that was left to chance. They lived in New York, many of them. So do you think they're looking at this book, looking at all the pictures they could use, and they just happen to just pick one randomly that was, they've got their model here just happened to be going to Staten? So I think we just got to really step back and think about that. Is it intentional or not? I think it is. So if it is, she's going to Staten, folks. She's not going to Brooklyn. All right. So that's what I have for you today. I want to just plant that in your brain to think about.